Today's lesson is on two-way frequency tables. In your probability packet on page 20, this video will correspond to the notes on page 20 and 21. So for the first question, it says, Felipe surveyed students at his school. He found that 78 students own a cell phone, and 57 of those students also own an MP3 player. There are 13 students that do not own a cell phone but own an MP3 player, and 9 students do not own either device. Construct a two-way table summarizing the data. So, a two-way frequency table is a way to display this information showing how many students own a cell phone and an MP3 player, or how many students do not own a cell phone and own an MP3 player, or maybe students that own a cell phone but do not own an MP3 player, or maybe they don't own either. And then looking at total people that own MP3 players, total people that do not own an MP3 player, total people that own a cell phone, total people that don't own a cell phone, and then total people surveyed. So now let's take the information from the scenario and put it into the table. So he found that 78 students own a cell phone. So total people that own a cell phone are 78. And 57 of the 78 that own a cell phone also own an MP3 player. There are 13 students that do not own a cell phone, but they do own an MP3 player. So 13, no cell phone, but yes MP3 player. And then 9 students do not own either device. So no MP3 player and no cell phone. 9. So now we have to use the information given to us and fill in the rest of the table. So let's look at the first column to find the total, and this is total MP3 players. 57 plus 13 is 70. Let's see, we can fill in this box right here because this is the total of people that don't have a cell phone, and that would be 13 plus 9, which is 22. Let's see, how would we find this box right here? So this would be students that don't have an MP3 player but have a cell phone. We would take the total 78 and subtract the 57 to get what's left over, which is 21. And now we can find the total of students that don't have an MP3 player, which is 30. And then now this last box is the total that you could find. Let's see, 78 plus 22 is 100, and 70 plus 30 is also 100. So either way, you will get the total that 100 students were surveyed. So once the two-way table is filled in, now can you answer to some basic questions that shows your understanding of that two-way table? So how many students own a cell phone? So we're looking at students that own a cell phone, but do not own an MP3 player. Alright, so no MP3 player, but cell phone, so that would be 21. How many total students own an MP3 player? So here are all the MP3 players, and the total, there are 70 students. How many total students do not own a cell phone So no cell phone, and the total 22 students do not own a cell phone. And then how many students were surveyed? So the big total, 100 students. All right, so now we're going to find and interpret relative frequencies of students from example 1 by row. So we're looking at how often something occurs out of the total. And we're only working by row. So in this case, this bottom total, they do not matter to us in this first example. So relative frequencies, so cell phone out of MP3 player, or those students that have a cell phone and MP3 player, is 57 out of the total 78. 57 out of 78. And relative frequencies you always write as a decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth. So if you divide and round, you will get 0.73. Alright, so then no MP3 player but does have a cell phone is 21 out of 78, and it rounds to 0.27. Oops, that's supposed to be 27. And then the total, if you look here, 73 plus 0.27 will add up to 1. And then, so no cell phone. Now we're looking at this row. So 13 don't have a cell phone but have an MP3 player out of that total 22. So 13 out of 22, you have the decimal 0.59. And then students that don't have either, 9 out of 22, which is 0.41. And 0.59 plus 0.41 is 1. And now we're going to find the relative frequencies by column. So this time we don't need the far right totals because we'll be dealing with these totals. So this time, the number of students that have both a cell phone and MP3 player is 57, but we're looking at the total out of the total of students that have MP3 players, which is 70. And if you round that to the nearest hundredth, you will get 0.81. Let's see, students that don't have a cell phone but have an MP3 player, 13 out of 70. We'll round to 0.19, and if you add those up, you should get 1. Alright, moving on, so students have a cell phone but no MP3 player, 21, and it's out of the total 30. And 21 out of 30 will be 0.7, and then 9 out of 30 will be 0.3, and you add those up, you will get 1. So there you have relative frequencies. Alright, here is a new example. A pet store conducted a survey on the types of pets owned by the store's customers. So we're going to construct a two-way frequency table made from this Venn diagram. So we have to interpret the Venn diagram and use those numbers to fill in the two-way table. So let's see. Let's start with 78. What that means is 78 people own a cat but do not own a dog. So we want to find, let's see, yes to the cat but no to the dog. So 78. But now we're looking at 125 own a dog, but not a cat. So the time yes to the dog, no to the cat, 125. And then the 45, that's the overlap. They own both a cat and a dog. So yes to cat and yes to dog, 45. And then the 52 would mean they don't own a dog or they don't own a cat. So 52. So now from here, all we have to do is find all of our totals. So total dog owners, 45 plus 125 is 170. The total people that don't own a dog, 78 plus 52 is 130. All right, the total cat owners, 123. The total of customers that don't own a cat, 177. Total people surveyed, 123 plus 177, or 170 plus 130. They will each give you 300. 300 people were surveyed. Alright, now I want you to pause the video and see if you can find the relative frequencies by row. So we will not need the bottom totals. And then come back and check your answers. Alright, check your answers. How did you do? Along with two-way frequency tables, you'll have to interpret the information. To end this lesson, I want you to think about any sort of valid conclusions you could make about the data. What kind of final statements can you write down? So I will give you two that I came up with, and you can choose to write mine down or come up with two of your own, period. So two valid conclusions that I made. It is popular to own a dog with no cat. So own a dog with no cat, 125 people. And then also about 30%, I think it was 29%, of pet store customers do not own a dog or a cat. There is your full lesson on two-way frequency tables. Good luck!